watching News 3 Now, live at 4.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Live at 4. Hope you had a nice weekend. Brady is on assignment this afternoon. He's going to be joining us in just a little while. Sarah Carlson is filling in today. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Oh, my goodness. You are so tan.
I would, looking at the monitor, I don't look that different. I look short.
I know. Did you have a good vacation?
I had a wonderful vacation. Thank you for asking.
And walking back into this weather
was a bit of a shock, but I think that I missed the worst of it.
You did. Yeah, you timed your trip perfectly.
That doesn't usually happen, so I'll give myself one of these.
Yes, and it's good to have you back.
It's great to be back as well.
We'll get an update with Blaze on the weather in just a minute, but first at 4, 2 people have been arrested in connection with a fatal shooting early yesterday morning on Madison's south side. It happened on Primrose Lane near the Ridge Apartments around 3:30. When police arrived, they found a 30-year-old man with a fatal gunshot wound, and despite rendering aid, he died on the scene. Members of the Violent Crime Unit are leading the investigation and renewing the evidence. Police say they have arrested a 67-year-old man for first-degree intentional homicide and a 44-year-old woman for being a felon in possession of a firearm. Madison Police Department spokesperson Stephanie Fryer says the victim and the subject were known to one another. Residents along Primrose Lane should expect to see an increased police presence as this investigation unfolds. Now to a big leadership change at UW-Madison. Chancellor Jennifer Mnookin will become the president of Columbia University in New York City on July 1st. This makes her the Ivy League school's 4th leader in just 3 years. Columbia has been shaken by protests and actions from President Trump, who last year froze $400 million in federal grants and contracts. Mnookin was named Chancellor of UW-Madison in August of 2022. UW System President Jay Rothman says he will appoint an interim chancellor while the Board of Regents conducts a nationwide search for Mnookin's successor. In a statement, the Universities of Wisconsin president said, as Chancellor Mnookin begins her next chapter, we thank her for her contributions and wish her every success. We look forward to ensuring that UW-Madison continues to thrive and to carry forward the tradition of excellence it is known for worldwide.
In other news right now, some people in Dane County are wondering when they will receive their mail. News 3 Now received several tips about people in Madison and Fitchburg who received their mail days late or not at all.
Tanasia Shaw spoke with some of the people impacted, and Tanasia, they said they're hoping for better communication, right?
Hi, Susan and Sarah. Yes, I spoke to someone in Fitchburg and another person in Madison. Neither of them know why it's taking days to get their mail from USPS.
It's everything from credit card bills to tax documents to, things that are pretty important stuff.
Steve Wunsch is just now receiving those envelopes in his mailbox, and it was supposed to arrive a week ago.
Of course, raises concerns. What's happened to your mail? Has it been stolen? Is it lost?
Wunsch is from Fitchburg, and he told me that he stays on top of his mail. He signed up for informed delivery through USPS. It lets residents know when they'll receive mail, but lately they've been notifying Wunsch, but the mail itself has been late or yet to come.
We've had numerous episodes now where mail's been delayed long time, several days, 5 days or longer.
Lynn Rush is from Madison, and she's dealing with the same exact problem.
There was no mail delivery last week, Monday through Friday. Of course, Monday was a holiday, and none of us would have expected to receive mail on Monday, but then there was not mail for the rest of the week.
I reached out to USPS. They did not respond when I asked them for an interview. They told me via email that heavy snowfall and extreme weather impacted their services, but mail is expected to be fully delivered today unless the area has snow or ice.
All right, thank you so much, Tanisha. The Verona area high school boys hockey coach has returned to coaching after an investigation into player misconduct. Earlier this month, the district said that John Beiser would not coach until they finished the investigation. The allegations did not pertain to sexual misconduct or other criminal actions, but rather violations of district policy and team expectations. As part of his return to coaching, the district plans to have increased monitoring and supervision of the team's classrooms, locker rooms, and buses, as well as leadership development for the team. Well, it looks like we only have a few more days of major cold, hopefully, before things trend up.
We are in the single digits today. Blaze Keller is watching the weather. Are we going to get to double digits anytime soon?
We will hopefully be there tomorrow. Southwesterly winds already taking over. Winds are out of the south out in Dodgeville on our Upland Hill sky cam. But even those southerly winds causing a bit of a wind chill. It feels like it's 12 degrees below zero in Dodgeville, but temperatures are actually above zero. Again, we broke that 60-hour streak over the weekend. We slipped below zero overnight, but now we are back to being above zero. And we should stay above zero for the most part. Maybe slipping there again in some spots tonight, but for the most part, we are going to stay above zero, especially during the daytime over the next 7 to 10 days. There is a bit of a wind chill, as I mentioned. Even those southerly winds, especially during the winter, and if they're breezy, they will cause a bit of a wind chill, but they are bringing up warmer air, so we are expecting those double digits to return tomorrow. A little bit of some cloud cover moves in later this evening and overnight. Could squeeze out a light snow shower or two, but for the most part, we're not expecting any heavy snow. We are tracking pretty steadily warming temperatures over the next 7 to 10 days with that light snow chance tonight into Tuesday. We'll take a look at when we could see some snow here overnight and talk about those steadily warming temperatures in the full forecast.
All right, Blaze, thank you. Today we're kicking off our Week of Warmth campaign benefiting the Keep Wisconsin Warm Cool Fund.
Our News 3 Now's Live at 4 anchor Brady Mallerie is live in Barneveld, showing you how you can help your friends and neighbors in need. Hi, Brady.
Well, let's face it, around here we do love winter, but if we're being honest, this past weekend was miserable. It was below zero all weekend. That wind didn't help, did it? And I know a lot of you were probably cranking up your heat to get through it. But think about this. A lot of our friends and neighbors, they don't have that option. A lot of people out there are thinking, can I buy groceries or heat my house? Can I afford to get my kids' school supplies or heat my house? Do I have enough money to get my medication that I need or heat my house? Shouldn't have to be that way. That's why we here at News 3 Now are giving you the opportunity all week to make a difference and to help each other out. We're working with the Keep Wisconsin Warm Cool Fund to help our neighbors in need. And 95 cents of every dollar you donate helps individuals in crisis stay warm this winter. So we are previewing our telethon coming up on Friday, but if you can't wait until then, you have a way to donate now. Just go to our website, channel3000.com. Do me a favor and go check it out. And there is no donation too little or too much. So whatever you have, know that it is helping someone in need. So coming up, I'm talking with Tim Brewer with the Keep Wisconsin Warm Cool Fund to show you all the ways that you can give this week. And why don't we put the we in Wisconsin and make a difference and work together to make everyone a little warmer this winter. So I'll see you later on Live at 4, and I'll send it back to Susan and Sarah in the studio.
I like that. It's a good way to think about it. Brady, thank you. We'll check back in just a little bit. Next on Live at 4, the final hostage in Gaza has been returned to Israel. What this means for the ceasefire.
Then President Trump said that he had a good call with Minnesota Governor Tim Walz in the wake of the last ICE shooting in Minneapolis. Plus, another government shutdown is possible as Homeland Security funding could hold things up.
Then over 2/3 of Americans are still dealing with a series of winter storms that moved across the country. We'll learn how they're repairing and digging out from the snow.
And there may not be much snow we can expect in our immediate forecast, but one thing is for sure, the cold is sticking around. Blaze tells us how much of that when we come back in the First One forecast.
As we continue to push through this stretch of bitter cold, here's how you can help us this week. For the Week of Warmth, help us raise money for the Keep Wisconsin Warm Cool Fund. You can find out how you can get involved and donate just by heading to our website, channel3000.com.
You're watching News 3 Now, live at 4.
Okay, so we're supposed to say the worst is over, but it's feeling pretty chilly out there, Blaze.
Stout, if you think this is bad, yeah, we got to 41 degrees below zero for a wind chill back last week. Thankfully, yes, the worst has moved on. We are not going to be dealing with those sub-zero temperatures and those even colder wind chills for the most part. Temperatures are certainly going to be on the warmer side. They're going to be in the double digits at least, but our wind chills for the next couple of nights will still be cold, but we are not expecting anything as cold as what we've been dealing with. We don't have another cold weather advisory in effect, so that is some good news. We've at least said goodbye to maybe some of the even more immediate cold. Now, we are getting ready for another clipper system. This one is beginning to move out of southern Canada into northeastern parts of Minnesota. Some of that snow along its warm front beginning to clip parts of the cities into Duluth, northwestern parts of Wisconsin. This may eventually make its way into our neck of the woods as we go further overnight around the midnight hour. It's not a strong clipper by any means, and there's not a lot of moisture for this system to really play with, but it is that time of year where even a little bit of moisture in the atmosphere mixed in with mostly cloudy conditions and especially winds out of the northwest, we may get a few flakes as we go overnight and into the morning hours on Tuesday. I wouldn't anticipate even over half an inch of snow. It's just not in the cards this time around. So maybe a dusting at best, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. The lack of snow over the last couple of days and through the rest of the extended forecast is actually quite fine because we've gotten 15 inches of snow in Madison. At one point, we were really struggling to get there. At the 10th, we got an inch, and then we really didn't see much before that. But once those temperatures started to cool on down, 16th and 17th, both days getting at least 5 inches of snow, we quickly bumped up our totals. So we're good with snow for the rest of January, and we're not the only ones who are still sitting underneath some of that snow. Look at how far south the estimated snow depth map shows how much snow is on the ground, parts of Texas, even into parts of Mexico, all the way back up the northeast coast with that latest system. A lot of the United States is underneath that snow. So we'll continue to sit underneath because we're not going to be chipping away at our snow thanks to these colder temperatures. But we're really not going to expect much over the next 7 to 10 days. If we do see any tonight into Tuesday and then later on into the upcoming weekend, it is going to be on the lighter side, that light fluffy snow, no big systems like what just moved through southern parts of the United States or what we experienced after Thanksgiving is in the forecast. There is a look at your 7 and 10 day forecast. Speaking of it, we're back into the double digits. I can hear everybody shouting across southern Wisconsin, cheering, a round of applause, and we will stay there through the extended forecast. Look at that. We could even flirt with the 30s by next Thursday. We are in the 20s by the weekend, ending January at 20 degrees, and we'll start off February in those low to mid 20s as well.
How warm was it in Mexico? Mid 80s?
I don't want to hear it.
That's what that's going to feel like. That is what 13 degrees is going to feel like.
I'm excited.
Thank you, Blaze.
Thanks, Blaze.
Well, frigid temperatures can affect your body in many ways, but they can be especially hard on your heart.
That's right. Reporter Mandy Gaither has more on the toll that extreme weather can take on your heart.
Whether it's shoveling snow or de-icing your car, winter weather can be hard work, especially for your heart.
You're going out into very chilly weather, which it could also be a very different climate than you're accustomed to, so a stressor to the body, trying to do something that's incredibly physically challenging.
Dr. Tamana Singh with Cleveland Clinic says in the cold, our bodies are also working to maintain core temperature, straining the heart as blood vessels constrict. Blood pressure and heart rate both rise. For those who already have heart problems, it can be dangerous.
This is why we tend to see a number of heart attacks or cardiac consequences when people are shoveling snow or doing a lot of heavy effort, high intense work in cold weather or snowy conditions.
To protect your heart, Singh says not to underestimate the weather. If you go outside, dress in layers and wear sweat-wicking clothing. Cover areas that lose heat like ears and your head. Put on thick wool socks and gloves.
put in some breaks if you're shoveling, ask for some help. If there's a better time of day to do some of that shoveling, like under the heat of the sun, I would certainly advocate for that.
And be aware of red flag symptoms, including chest pain or discomfort, jaw pain or tightness, and general unease. Singh says if something feels off, get inside and call 911.
I definitely encourage all of my patients to be safe rather than sorry in these situations.
I'm Mandy Gaither.
And Dr. Singh says if you don't have to be outside, staying out of the extreme cold is a very good idea, especially if you have any underlying heart issues.
Well, the first case of measles has been reported in Wisconsin this year. The person lives in Waukesha County, and officials say it's due to international travel. The Wisconsin Department of Health Services and Waukesha County Health and Human Services are working right now to identify and notify anyone who may have been exposed. So far, no public exposure locations have been identified. Well, coming up next on Live at 4, the northeastern part of the country is now seeing the end of that massive winter storm.
And following the second ICE agent shooting death in Minneapolis in the last month, we look at what rules and laws are in place here in Wisconsin when it comes to federal agents.
Then it is tax season and some changes coming with it. We will break it all down to make sure you pay the least or get the most back this year.
And then after years of bloody fighting in Gaza, the final Israeli hostage has been returned and the next phase of a ceasefire can begin. What this moment means for Gaza and Israel's future.
You're watching News 3 Now, live at 4, moving forward.
Welcome back, everyone. The numbers on Wall Street today, green across the board. The Dow is up 313 points, NASDAQ picked up 100, and the S&P 500 is nearly up 35.
The Israeli military has announced the recovery of the last deceased hostage left in Gaza. Ron Gavili, a police officer, was killed in the October 7th attack in 2023, and his body was taken to Gaza. There are now no Israeli hostages or their remains inside Gaza for the first time in more than 11 years. Israel has said it will reopen Gaza's Rafah border crossing with Egypt, the enclave's main gateway to the world, once the search operation for Gavili's remains was completed.
For the second time this month, a Minneapolis resident was shot and killed by federal immigration agents. And today, President Trump says that he's sending one of his top border officials there to oversee operations.
It comes after what the Department of Homeland Security says is at odds with video of the deadly encounter, and we want to warn viewers, you may find this video disturbing. CBS's Lana Zach is in Minneapolis with the details.
Say his name, Alex Brady.
As mourners gather at the memorial for Alex Brady, an intensive care nurse who was shot and killed by federal agents, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz and President Trump are trying to come to an agreement to dial back the intensity of Operation Metro Surge. According to the governor's office, the president says he will consider drawing down the number of federal agents in the Twin Cities and instruct the Department of Homeland Security to cooperate with the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehensions in their investigation into the death of Preddy. The 37-year-old was shot and killed by federal agents Saturday morning. Moments before, Preddy was seen holding his phone and arguing with officers. Shortly after, he was hit with chemical spray and tackled. An agent takes a gun from Preddy's waist, and the shooting begins 1 second later. Similar to the shooting of Renee Good, the Trump administration put the blame on Preddy.
He wasn't there to peacefully protest. He was there to perpetuate violence.
But those who knew him, including Father Harry Tatso, say he was known for his kindness.
So don't please pay any attention to the vilification from our national leaders.
Preddy's parents say their son began protesting after Good's killing and thought it was terrible seeing children taken by ICE agents.
He cared about people deeply, and he was very upset with what was happening in Minneapolis and throughout the United States.
President Trump is sending border czar Tom Homan to Minneapolis. Lana Zach, CBS News, Minneapolis.
In response to the shooting, Governor Tony Evers released a statement about a new lawsuit filing in support of Minnesota against the Trump administration. In a statement, the governor said Wisconsin is in a coalition of states that have a strong interest in ensuring that federal immigration enforcement is not used as an excuse to infringe on the sovereignty of states.
And President Trump said that he had a very good call with Minnesota Governor Tim Walz. This is discussing Saturday's fatal shooting in Minneapolis. The president agreed to reduce the number of federal agents in Minnesota and work more closely with the state on immigration enforcement. President Trump is sending his border czar Tom Homan to Minnesota to report back to him.
We hope Governor Walz will do the right thing and continue to work with President Trump to keep the American people safe following their call this morning.
Following the shooting, Senate Democrats and at least one independent are refusing to vote for a bill that would fund the Department of Homeland Security. The Senate's 53 Republicans need help from 7 Democrats or independents in order to keep the government open and avoid a partial shutdown at the end of this week.
Well, snow and ice are falling across much of the U.S. from Texas, as Blaze was mentioning, all the way to the Northeast.
That's right. Hundreds of thousands of people are without power due to extreme cold temperatures.
Lee Waldman is in New York City with the latest on the storm.
A monster winter storm is making its way across the U.S., battering 2/3 of the U.S. population with snow, ice, and brutally cold temperatures.
Wild, 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 wild. I haven't seen snow like this in years.
Completely frozen. What the heck? Schools have been canceled or moved to remote learning, and flight disruptions have continued to climb, with Sunday marking the most cancellations since the COVID-19 pandemic. Ice coating trees and power lines in the south is damaging on its own, but the wind is adding an extra danger. Widespread power outages in the Nashville metropolitan area could last for days, according to the electric utility Nashville Electrical Service. In Louisiana, people are riding out the storm in warming centers after officials confirmed 2 men died from hypothermia. Up north in New York City, Mayor Zohran Mamdani says there are thousands of sanitation workers out on city streets, and plows have started to clear roadways.
We really encourage you to stay home. Staying home is the safest thing you can do. It's the best thing for our city workers.
At least 20 states have declared a state of emergency in response to the historic winter storm, and many will experience its lingering effects for days and even weeks as the cold temperatures stick around. In New York, I'm Lee Waldman.
The latest reports show that over 800,000 people are still without power across the country.
And coming up on Live at 4, we're learning more about the man killed by ICE agents in Minneapolis and his ties to Wisconsin.
Plus, a Mauston man has been arrested in Indiana in connection with the murder of his father. We'll tell you what we know now.
And you've probably heard it's the start of tax season already. We have a few tips to keep in mind before you file.
And then Blaze is back with another look at the forecast. The alert days have passed, but the cold is still here. He'll let us know how much longer when we come back.
You're watching News 3 Now, live at 4, moving forward.
Welcome back to Live at 4 today, everybody. Sarah Carlson is filling in. Brady is on assignment, and he's going to join us in just a little while. You were in Mexico. Welcome back to 7 degrees.
Yeah, it was
and
quite
you know
the
what?
shock.
It feels good. It's better than what we've been through.
That's what I hear.
Yes.
And I'm sorry. Or not. I mean, I picked the right time.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure to be here, though, and it really is a pleasure to be back home.
It is good to have you
And I just saw in the video before you saw our blue here, there are people running on the street. Good luck, and let's hope that they're really bundled up. I know it's tough to be out there. I tried walking the dog today. Yeah, it hurt.
That's a beautiful shot from the Edgewater, the ice rink. The lake is frozen solid, and the weather words today, staying very cold. Blaze is here watching the forecast. At least it will be a little bit more tolerable, but you know, when 20 degrees feels warm,
just a tiny bit. Yeah, 20 degrees feeling warm means we're going to be steadily climbing. So we're out of the sub-zero temperatures, I think, for high temperatures pretty much from here through the rest of our extended forecast. But with the winds still out of the south and breezy at this hour, there is a bit of a wind chill. Even though it is 5 degrees in Dodgeville, it feels like it's 12 degrees below zero. Air temperatures about 4 or 5 degrees. Most of us sitting around that air temperature temperature. A few of us a little bit warmer, but southwesterly winds as expected taking on over, and that's going to send our temperatures into those double digits for highs by Tuesday, but not before causing a bit of a wind chill through the rest of this evening and into those morning hours on Tuesday. Again, stay with News 3 Now should another cold weather advisory be issued or schools choosing to delay due to those upcoming wind chills. There is a look at our overnight lows, expected to be about 5-6 degrees, partly cloudy to mostly clear, breezy with a little bit of light snow possible. Expect nothing more really than a dusting to about a half an inch of light fluffy snow. Temperatures, we're talking double digits starting tomorrow through the rest of the extended forecast when the 20s return, and how long the quote-unquote warmth sticks around for in just a few minutes.
All right, thank you, Blaze. We are learning more today about the Illinois-born and Wisconsin-raised man who was killed by ICE agents in Minneapolis over the weekend. 37-year-old Alex Preddy was an intensive care unit nurse at the VA hospital in Green Bay. He graduated from Preble High School there. Hundreds of protesters gathered in downtown Green Bay to call for an end to ICE operations following his death. And the people who say they knew him describe Preddy as a man who looked to help others.
When I learned, he was an ICU nurse for the VA, kind of matched up a little bit. Like, this is a guy who's trying to serve others.
Green Bay's mayor released a statement that reads in part, quote, "I mourn his tragic death with his friends and family and join a chorus of Americans who are rightfully demanding that the federal government change course and enforce immigration law in keeping with local, state, federal laws and the U.S. Constitution," end quote.
And as we just said, over the weekend, that is when that happened. That shooting happened on Saturday in Minneapolis.
Our political reporter Ellie LaLiberte shows us how it is now raising questions about if or how local and federal law enforcement cooperate.
Well, under the U.S. Constitution, local law enforcement and state law enforcement cannot be required to participate in federal law enforcement operations. So in a purple state like Wisconsin, different law enforcement agencies can have different policies when it comes to cooperating with federal agents. For example, the Madison Police Department will only cooperate with ICE under these circumstances: if the individual is engaged or suspected of terrorism or espionage, if the individual is arrested for any violent felony, if the individual poses a serious threat to public safety, or if the individual is a previously deported felon and therefore there's a basis for officers to detain or arrest the individual.
When it comes to denying any type of additional services, if it's for crowd control or traffic management or even participation in the actual ICE operations themselves, the local municipality can deny that request. They're under no obligation to assist. Again, only if it's an imminent life and death situation.
Not all local law enforcement agencies refuse to cooperate. For example, the Sauk County Sheriff's Office is in a contract with the federal government to allow ICE to house its detainees, in the county jail. Now, in part, policy is left to local discretion because there's no statewide law creating a uniform policy.
Ellie, thank you. Police in Indiana arrested a Mauston man in connection with his father's homicide. Last Wednesday, Indiana police stopped Jacob Sanders 6 hours from Mauston for turning without signaling. Officers noticed blood on his hands and saw that he was driving his father's car. Indiana authorities contacted Juneau County for a welfare check, and that check led police to Michael Sanders' home near the Willows Motel, where they found him dead. Police launched a homicide investigation immediately and took Jacob Sanders into custody. Jacob Sanders faces theft, criminal conversion, and driving without a license charges in Indiana. Extradition to Wisconsin is pending, and he has an initial court appearance in Indiana scheduled for tomorrow.
Well, the countdown to tax season is over. Today is your first day to file, but there are some changes to keep in mind.
And with President Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill Act, you could see a larger return possibly this year. Consumer reporter Michelle Renee Quinn breaks down why that is and how these changes may affect you.
These
These changes from the One Big Beautiful Bill Act went into effect in July. And because the IRS didn't update withholding tables, taxpayers like us will have paid more than required in taxes, meaning we could see a larger return. Now, that's for 2025 filings specifically, as the IRS will eventually update those withholding tables. But if you're a middle-income family with kids, a worker who earns tips or overtime, or a senior citizen, you might see that bigger refund. When looking at the standard deduction, which is the amount of income that's not taxed, this amount has gone up for 2025. Take a look at your screen. These numbers are reflecting both the IRS and Trump's budget bill changes. Seniors get a bonus $6,000 deduction, and the state and local tax deduction is temporarily raised from $10,000 to $40,000. So middle-class families will certainly feel that relief right there. For the child tax credit, it increased by $200, but new eligibility rules might affect some mixed status and immigrant families. The child must be a U.S. citizen, live with you more than half the tax year, and both the filer and child must have a Social Security number. The maximum child tax credit is $2,200 per qualifying kid. The 2025 tax law also adds new deductions you can claim before calculating your taxable income, such as a $10,000 tax-free deduction for car loan interest if your vehicle qualifies. You'll need to check your car's VIN number to see if it's made in the U.S. for that.
All right, Michelle Renee, thank you. That's a lot of information to absorb, so we have all of it attached to this story on channel3000.com. Michelle Renee also reminds that lower income filers who already owe little or no tax may not experience much of a change, and higher income taxpayers may benefit less due to phase-outs on some credits and deductions. Madison Magazine's Winter Restaurant Week is back, giving diners a chance to sample special menus and support local restaurants across the area. The annual event runs through January 30th, and in addition to showcasing local cuisine, this year's Winter Restaurant Week includes a community giving component. Diners are encouraged to donate money or non-perishable food items at participating restaurants to support the River Food Pantry, which is helping to stock shelves for neighbors in need. You can find a full list of participating restaurants and all the menus on channel3000.com.
You can see all those dishes there getting us hungry. All right. Well, next on Live at 4, we're talking about the most important stories of the day in the afternoon sprint.
Arrests have been made in a fatal Madison shooting. UW-Madison's chancellor is stepping down, and a Verona hockey coach is back on the staff after a player misconduct investigation.
And then the alert day cold has passed, but we're still staying frozen for a while. Blaze will tell us what's coming up in the First Warn forecast.
And as we continue to push through this stretch of bitter cold, we're asking for your help this upcoming week for the Week of Warmth. Help us raise money for the Keep Wisconsin Warm Cool Fund. You can find out how you can get involved and donate by heading to our website, channel3000.com.
You're watching News 3 Now, live at 4, moving forward.
Okay, we're taking a live look at Frankenmuth, Michigan. The weather there, 14 degrees, balmy and cloudy. The big blocks of snow that you see are part of the Zenders Snow Fest, which brings snow and ice carvers from around the world to Michigan's Little Bavaria. It is the 34th year for this festival, runs Wednesday through Sunday if you're looking for something to do. It's from the Capitol steps. It's just a 7-hour road trip, is what we're told.
You got to embrace winter when you can. Well, today we're kicking off our Week of Warmth campaign. It benefits the Keep Wisconsin Warm Cool Fund.
News 3 Now live at 4 anchor Brady Mallerie is live in Barneveld, showing you how you can help your friends and neighbors in need. Hi, Brady.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. I want to give a shout out to all the wonderful people here at Vortex who invited us out and showing us this great hospitality. They're keeping us toasty warm in here, and it really makes you appreciate how a simple thing like heat can make a big difference. And we are working to bring that to everyone who might be struggling right now. So Tim Brewer with the Keep Wisconsin Warm Cool Fund is here with me. And I think it's easy to think about the numbers of people who are struggling and just think of them as numbers, but these are real individuals. And what would you remind people when they're wondering if they should donate to the fund?
Well, I think the question that most people ask us is, first of all, how much of the money I'm contributing actually go to people? in crisis. And we're proud of the fact that 95 cents in every dollar goes to people who really are the most vulnerable. And if you really wonder if you really make a difference, today is a great example, sadly. An elderly couple who had a fire, ran out of literally all support with Salvation Army and Red Cross with no heat, frozen pipes, and space heater, and a dog. And it was actually the support of Keep Wisconsin Warm Cool Fund that was able to engage immediately and get the heat turned back on, the pipes fixed, and literally save a life. So that's one of thousands of cases, you know. There's so many worthwhile charities that are out there, but think about this. If you walk outside today, and that's what you experience from the inside, and the best you can hope for in a crisis is a dangerous space heater, turning your stove off, or shutting your furnace down, or having a furnace that is no longer operating, or bleeding carbon monoxide. And the only choice you have really is to literally living in that kind of a dangerous environment. Heat, which is a basic necessity, has clearly become an unaffordable luxury. And you have the opportunity, a rare opportunity, to really make a difference whether somebody stays safely in their homes or they are in serious danger of death because of hypothermia.
Well, Tim, we're going to be talking with you later on News 3 Now at 5 and 6 to show people the opportunities they have to give, including previewing our telethon coming up on Friday. But if you're saying, Brady, I don't want to wait for that, I want to do something good now, just go to our website, channel3000.com. It's very easy. Donate what you can. Every little bit helps, and we sure do appreciate everyone's generosity. So we'll see you here again on News 3 Now at 5. Susan, Sarah, back to you in the studio.
All right, Brady, thank you, and thanks to Tim as well and our friends at Vortex. That was very well said, Brady. Thanks so much. And now over to the weather. Every degree counts, and 2 digits are better than 1.
Yes.
And we're headed there.
Yes, we are headed there. Starting tomorrow, thanks to southerly winds right now, we will be back in those low teens starting tomorrow and eventually the 20s by the upcoming weekend, ending January warmer than where we've been over the last couple of weeks, certainly. And we're continuing to look at little to no snow other than overnight into maybe the first half of Tuesday. Clippers moving on through, I would say, further to the north, probably closer to Green Bay even, having the best chance for even accumulating snow. Down in southern Wisconsin, we might get at best a half an inch. And this is going to be more of that light, fluffy snow. But once this Clipper passes, it's going to reinforce those low teen temperatures as we go through about Thursday of this week. High pressure will quickly follow in and keep our morning wind chills on the cooler side, but nothing compared to what we've been dealing with or have dealt with. Certainly nothing 35 to 45 degrees below zero, but we'll be back to maybe 15 to 25 degrees below zero on Tuesday. So again, stay with News 3 Now. Should any schools opt to delay or any cold weather advisories getting issued by the National Weather Service. Looking ahead to Wednesday, still about 15 to 20 degrees below zero, but during the daytime hours, our temperatures will get above freezing. Over the last above zero, I should say. Over the last 2 weeks, we went from 53 degrees on the 13th and just went all the way down to 4 degrees below zero for a high temperature on the 23rd. The 24th, we got to 3 degrees below zero. So this was our trend over the last 2 weeks, going from well above average on high temperatures to well below average for our high temperatures. What about the next 10 days? Slowly but surely getting closer to normal. Not really getting above average, but closer to normal. And I think that trend is pretty much going to sit with us through about the middle of February. This warmer than average bubble of air keeps trying to make its way eastward, but it just really doesn't look like that confidence is there. So what I think as we get from about the 3rd to the 9th and even beyond that to about Valentine's Day, I think we inch closer, slowly but surely, to warmer than average. I don't think we get warmer than average any sooner than mid-February. There was a look at your 7 and 10 day forecast. Little to no snow chances, but at least we're in the double digits. And starting this weekend, we'll be in the 20s through the end of next week.
All right, thanks so much, Blaze. Well, here's something we hope will warm you up, everyone. Elephants were treated to the ultimate spa day at a zoo just outside of Melbourne, Australia, as that area braced for extreme heat wave conditions. This is drone video. Oh, there it is. Oh, sweet. Okay, that 4.5-ton beautiful elephant splashing in the mud. Another video shows the 3.5-year-old calf playing and splashing with her grandmother. Well, the elephants are part of a 9-member herd at Werribee Open Range Zoo.
Boy, you're right. How can that not put a smile on your face?
I know, they're so cute.
Stay with us. We're covering the day's largest stories in the afternoon sprint when we come back. It's 4:53, time for the afternoon sprint. The Verona area high school boys hockey coach has returned to coaching after an investigation into player misconduct. Earlier this month, the district said John Beiser would not coach until they finished the investigation. As part of his return to coaching, the district plans to have increased monitoring and supervision of the team's locker rooms and buses.
Police in Indiana arrested a Mauston man in connection with his father's homicide. Last Wednesday, Indiana police stopped Jacob Sanders 6 hours from Mauston and noticed blood on his hands while he was driving his father's car. A following welfare check led police to Michael Sanders' home near the Willows Motel, where they did find him dead.
UW-Madison Chancellor Jennifer Mnuchin will become the president of Columbia University on July 1st. Mnuchin was named Chancellor of UW-Madison in August of 2022. UW System President Jay Rothman says he will appoint an interim chancellor while the Board of Regents conducts a nationwide search for her successor.
And as we continue to push through this stretch of bitter cold weather, you can help News 3 Now and Channel 3000 this upcoming week for the Week of Warmth. You can help us raise money for the Keep Wisconsin Warm and Cool Fund. 95 cents of every dollar donated goes directly to helping those staying warm and safe. Find out how to get involved and donate. Just head to our website, channel3000.com.
And temperatures tonight dipping into the single digits, but staying above zero with a little bit of light snow possible, especially further north and east. Looking ahead to Tuesday, back into the double digits for some of us. Partly sunny, still breezy, and a little bit of light snow possible. Starting at 5, or join us again at 5. Alex will have the latest when it comes to our warming trend throughout the rest of this week.
All right, Blaze, thank you. We'll be right back.
Hey, welcome back, everyone. Coming up at 5, officials are drilling in Lake Mendota to find out if it's thick enough for the Frozen Assets 5K run walk. Will it happen, or are they on thin ice? And we learn more about a vote tonight in Janesville that could put some data center decisions on the ballot. Thanks so much for joining us, everyone, for Live at 4. We hope to see you right back here tomorrow. And you can always find us streaming 24/7 on Channel 3000+. News 3 Now at 5 starts right now.